Good morning. My name is Frank Dudek. I'm an elder law attorney, and this is the first video of a six-part video series, How to Bulletproof Your Assets from the Nursing Home. Today we're going to talk specifically about people in rehabilitation in the nursing home. To be more specific, today we'll be talking to anyone that has a loved one. It could be a spouse or a parent who is currently in the nursing home. They have maybe recently been in the hospital for a few days or longer. They're now in a nursing home for rehabilitation, and I'm sure you've already been told that the first 20 days of rehab will be covered by your Medicare insurance. After that, if you have a Medicare supplement, you may be covered for days 21 through 100. In most cases, people get a total of about 45 days, usually somewhere between 30 and 60 days. While you're in rehab, you have a golden opportunity to take advantage of public long-term care insurance to apply for this benefit, which you could use later. By applying now, you may be able to protect everything that you've got in just a few short months, 1, 2, or 3 years. Perhaps you're in rehab for any one of a number of reasons. It doesn't matter. It could be a broken hip, you could have had a stroke, a heart attack, could be pneumonia or complications from dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's. Or for any reason that you're there, we want to take advantage of this time that you are in rehab to perhaps qualify for public long-term care benefits in the future while protecting your assets. This public long-term care coverage is provided by the state of Arkansas. It is administered by the Department of Human Services, and if you qualify, can allow you lifetime coverage with an elimination period. Now, this elimination period is generally between 12 and 60 months. On average, it's about 2 or 3 years, meaning once you qualify, you're eliminated from actually participating in the program for 1, 2, or 3 years in most cases. But during that time frame, most people have returned home, they're living at home, so if they ever go back into the nursing home, then they could be fully covered with all their assets protected from long-term care expenses. So let's talk about the qualifications to as you get ready to apply for this public long-term care insurance coverage. First of all, while you're in rehab, you must be in a nursing home, a skilled nursing home facility for 30 consecutive days. So if you leave in less than 30 days, your application will not be considered, even if you turn it in. Number 2, the facility, the nursing home facility, must turn in a Form 721 to the Department of Human Services before your application will be approved. This is a certification that you do indeed currently need 24/7 skilled care. Now, obviously, as you get better and you return home in the next few weeks, that won't be the case. But this Form 721 is as of right now, as you're actually needing 24/7 skilled care. So this is a document that you must request the nursing home fill out and turn in, and this needs to be done as soon as possible. I've had people that have waited till right before they leave the nursing home, and the nursing home refused to fill this out because they said this person will be leaving in just a couple of days and they no longer require 24/7 skilled care. In my office, as we do Medicaid applications, we put in writing a written request to the nursing home facility to prepare this form, get it filled out and signed and turned in to the Department of Human Services as soon as possible so that it is there when they receive our applications. Our application can be processed and approved. So time is of the essence. Number 3, all of your assets other than a home, car, and $2,000 must be transferred out of your name, either into the name of generally a relative, a child, or we highly recommend an irrevocable asset protection trust. Now, if you're not familiar with that, you need to go back and watch the previous video that we did. It is available. It was our webinar where we explained asset protection trust. So go back and watch that video. Then, this transfer must be 100% complete prior to your application being submitted to the Department of Human Services. Now, to be more specific, these applications are typically done on the first or second business day of the month. For instance, if you're in the nursing home right now, the earliest that you would probably be able to apply if you're going to transfer assets would be the first business day of next month. So all your transactions, transfers, and establishing of your irrevocable asset protection trust needs to be done before the end of the current month. If you're over even by $1, if you had $2,001 in assets, you will be disqualified for this benefit and your application will be denied. So, number 4, we must look at your current monthly income. If you make too much income, you can be disqualified for this benefit. How much? To be exact, it's $2,250 per month. If you make more than this, then you must get a Miller Income Trust set up, and it must be properly funded and maintained and operated as you apply for this benefit and after you apply for this benefit to receive public long-term care insurance benefits. Number 5, you must complete the 15-page application. It's about 11 pages of actual forms and about 4 pages of written instructions. And you must also attach all supporting documents. To give you an idea of this application, most of the applications that we process in our office, the file itself is probably about 3 to 4 inches, and the actual application that we turn in is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So there's a lot of information that has to go in there. And so to get more information on the Medicaid application process itself, you will want to watch video number 6 in this series to learn more about how that process takes place and what you need to do. Then, once you've turned in your application and all the supporting documents, the Department of Human Services will begin processing your application. Once that has been turned in and they're processing it, then the next day, literally the day after you file your application, you may leave the skilled nursing facility where you currently reside and return home. Do not, and I repeat, do not leave your nursing home facility and return home until you have actually filed your application as we've just described. If you leave before filing your application, then your application will be denied. It will not be properly processed because at the time you file your application, you must be in the nursing home. The day after you file your application, you can leave and return home and they will continue to process your application. Now, once the application has been turned in and you perhaps return home, over the next 30 to 180 days, generally this is a 60 to 90 day process when we do it in our office, the Department of Human Services will process your application and will send you anywhere from 1 to perhaps as many as 5 notices requesting additional information, additional supporting documents, or having just questions about the application that you turned in to clarify some information that they're not sure about. On each of these notices, it will clearly state that you have 10 days from the date of this notice to turn in your supporting information or documents If you fail to do so, your application will be denied on, and it will have a date on the application when your application will be denied. So it is imperative that you get these answered and back to the Department of Human Services in a timely fashion to avoid your application from being denied. If you fail to answer the notice, your application will be denied. If you're late in answering the notice, your application can be denied. If you fail to give all the information they request or completely answer to their satisfaction any notices that they send you, you can be denied. So, this is a very strict process, and it must be done properly. If you have a problem with your application and you're denied, you can fix that problem. They will tell you what your problem is. You can fix this problem and reapply the next month. However, you must still be in the nursing home to do that, and most people have already returned home, so now your application has been denied and you've returned home, and certainly you're not going back into the nursing home in the next 30 days. So this whole process has been kind of somewhat of a waste of time. Now, if you are still in the nursing home, you can fix the problem, turn in a new Medicaid application with those problems fixed, and they will process that, and usually within a month or two either will approve you or will deny your application based on another problem that they failed to disclose to you in the first application. What I have seen happen is if you have 3 problems, they will disqualify your application 3 separate times. So this can be a 6 or 7 month process trying to get this done, and many times after the first or second denial, people come in and say, I need help with this, and I generally say you've got 2 or 3 or 4 more problems that you've not even identified yet. Let's fix everything right now before we turn in our next application, and in fact that's what we do, and then we can get our application approved. So this can be a long process sometimes trying to do this on your own. Now, step number 10, once your application has been approved, you will receive a notice telling you how long your elimination period is. Typically, it will be somewhere between 12 and 60 months based on the amount of assets that you transferred to your asset protection trust. To be more specific, for every $5,493 that you transferred to your children or to your asset protection trust, you will be disqualified for Medicaid for 1 month. So let me give you an example. If you transferred $54,930, that's what you transferred to your trust, that divided by $5,493 is 10 months. Your elimination period for qualifying for public long-term care benefits would be 10 months. That is 10 months from the date of your application. For instance, if you gave away $329,580, that divided by 5,493 is 60 months. So you would be disqualified for the next 60 months starting with the date you turned your application in. If you give away more than $329,580, you're probably recommended not to apply for this public long-term care benefit and simply wait that 5-year period, that 60-month period, before you apply. If you waited until the 61st month to apply, all transfers more than 60 months ago would not even be considered or regarded by the Department of Human Services in processing your application. But most of my clients are transferring far less than $329,580. In most cases, they're transferring their home, which is $100,000 to $200,000, and transferring some money anywhere from $25,000 to maybe $150,000. It could be more than this, but that is generally about how much people transfer. The penalty generally runs in the neighborhood of about 12 to 60 months, usually 2 to 3 years. Now, let's take, for example, an example. Let's say that you have a $100,000 home and $102,000 in checking, savings, investments, and a $15,000 car. And you are now in nursing home rehab. You take your $100,000 out of your checking, savings, and investments, transfer that to your asset protection trust, and file your application. You then return home. DH sends additional notices requesting different additional information. You properly respond to those, and then Medicaid approves your application with an elimination period calculated as follows. The $100,000 that you transferred divided by $5,493 is about 18 months. So you would be not qualified for the public long-term care insurance for the 18 months beginning in the month that you applied. Translated, you have no long-term care coverage for the next 18 months. So for instance, let's assume that you are in a nursing home on rehab in December of 2018. If you turned your application in on January the 1st or January the 2nd, which would be the first business day of 2019, you would be have an elimination period of 18 months, which would run from January the 2nd of 2019 through June the 30th of 2020. During that time period, you would not be able to be eligible for long-term care benefits. Then on July the 1st of 2020, you would be eligible for public long-term care benefits. So this is how the Rehab 123 plan works. I call it the golden opportunity, because while you're in nursing home rehab, before you return home, if you can complete this application and get these transactions done, most people will not have the ordinary 5-year waiting period that you would once you return home. Now, if you return home, transfer these assets into an irrevocable asset protection trust, then you will not be eligible for 5 years. You must wait 5 years to be eligible. So it is best to get this done while you're in rehab, and in many cases people cut their waiting period from 5 years down to 2 to 3 years, or about half of what it would normally be. In the next video, we're going to be talking about people that are in the nursing home long term. They are likely to remain there for the rest of their life. So they don't have an 18 months going home period or a 24-month going home period to recover. They're in the nursing home and likely to stay there for the remainder of their life. This is a crisis case. There are things we can do to still protect at least 50% of your assets. So stay tuned for video number 2.